if everybody is looking in one direction, you always have to explore the other perspectives which are around you, and you have to find clues before anybody else. Well, this is the trick that all the legendary traders and investors have to succeed in the stock market. Currently, everybody is looking at the war which is escalating in Iran, and everybody is looking at the Strait of Hormuz. But there is another hotspot rising, and that can impose an additional risk for the stock market participants, which nobody is looking at, but that can be so critical going ahead. We will discuss that in detail in this video, so stick around till the end because we are going to discuss so many other things. All right, so before we go any further, here's a quick disclaimer that I wish to give you guys, and always there at the beginning of the video, that investment in securities market is subject to market risk. So please do all the research before you take any call, and whatever that I speak in this video about is not a buy and sell recommendation, and you guys know it already. Right, so moving on. What do we discuss in this video? Here are a quick agenda points. One is the global updates that we talk about in each and every video that you should know, irrespective of whether you have any current positions in the market or not. You should know about this. Then we deep dive into the major indices and talk about how do they look in the previous week and today, and what is the market breadth, which most of you skip looking at but is the most important thing. And finally, we look at the trade signals of the trader hikes proprietary indicator that we use. So now let's quickly deep dive into the global updates. Alright, so Israel has attacked the Arak heavy water plant and the Bushehr nuclear power plant in Iran. So what does this mean? So heavy water plants are the strategic facilities which are used in nuclear power plants. We also do have it in India. And so Israel has attacked both the heavy water plant facility as well as the nuclear power plant in Iran. The next is Gulf nations report fresh strikes and interceptions of ballistic missiles and drones launched from Iran. So basically the war hasn't stopped yet. The escalation is there from both the sides, and this is absolutely, getting more intense day by day. Then Iran attacks Saudi Arabia's Prince Sultan Air Base. American soldiers are reported to be injured. And this came over the weekend. So this video that you can see here, this image, this shows that US Air Force military aircraft has been damaged by one of the strikes that was done at the Saudi airbase by Iran. Then Iran says that they are waiting for US troops if they engage in ground war. So basically, Iran is saying that if you at all wish to, come and do a ground war with us, we are all prepared. And this is coming after US is mobilizing more troops in Iran on the ground facilities. Then there is intensity of attacks on Israel by Houthis in Yemen. They basically support Iran, have increased, and European Union is asking ships to avoid Red Sea route. So in the next slide, we'll look at what exactly is this Red Sea route and what is this that the global leaders are concerned about. So this is exactly the main point that I wish to highlight in this video, which if you watch this video till the end, you will be one step ahead of everybody in knowing the global geopolitics as they stand right now. So on this right, you see the Qatari news channel office, which was attacked in Iran, and some of the journalists were also killed in this attack by Israel. So this has been deeply condemned by the journalists all across Middle East. Now moving on. The next hotspot in Middle East war is Bab el-Mandeb Strait. So what is Bab el-Mandeb Strait and how does it hold such strategic significance in the Middle East region? So if you can see the top right corner of the screen, so this is the Strait of Hormuz, this part. So look at the cursor, right? So this is the Persian Gulf. It takes a curve, and from here it goes to the Arabian Sea. So this curve is basically Strait of Hormuz, and this is the region. This is the region where Iran has placed all its ballistic missiles and its interceptors and drones to attack any ship which crosses without any authority from Strait of Hormuz. So this is the region where 20% of the oil flows from, which has been hit for the past 27 28 days now, and all the ships that are stranded in the Persian Gulf. Now this is Iran, this upper part is Iran, this is Oman, this is Qatar, this is Kuwait, and this is UAE, right? Now Yemen, you see this region, this is Yemen. Yemen supports Iran. So Yemen has a radical group which is called Houthis. They support Iran, and this region is Saudi Arabia. Now Iran flows its oil from Strait of Hormuz, and Saudi Arabia flows its oil and other trade goods from Red Sea. So basically, whatever that global goods flow, this is the Mediterranean Sea. It flows from here through Suez Canal. Suez Canal connects the Red Sea, and Red Sea connects this. This region is Bab el-Mandeb Strait, similar to how we have a Strait of Hormuz here. This Bab el-Mandeb Strait is the choke point that we have in the Red Sea, and this is controlled by Iran. Now this is the most interesting aspect that you should see, right? Now Yemen has increased the intensity of its strikes and is now targeting the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. So what the global leaders currently fear is the fact that what if Yemen takes over Bab el-Mandeb Strait and the 12% trade that flows through Bab el-Mandeb, and some of the Saudi Arabian oil which does not flow through the east-west pipeline also flows through Bab el-Mandeb Strait. So ना कि सिर्फ oil facilities hit होंगी, बल्कि 12% of the trade that flows from Suez Canal to Red Sea to Bab el-Mandeb and then to Arabian Sea also gets hit. So this is the next hotspot and the next choke point that we can see going ahead, and the signs are already there. And what are those signs? Let's quickly see them. Insurers are already denying insurance for ships using this route. So basically, insurers have already sensed that this route can be in danger going ahead, and they are denying any insurance for the ships that are flowing through this region. Alternate route requires ships to go around African continent. That adds 2 weeks in time and the additional cost. So basically, Suez Canal cut shorts the duration of ships that are flowing from west to east by 2 weeks, and of course the cost, because otherwise the ships have to go through the entire southern part of the western Africa of the African continent and then come to the Arabian Sea. The next important thing that happened during the week was a major protest that happened in the United States of America, and it is called the No Kings protest across many states that was seen in the United States. On Saturday, huge crowd gathered to protest in every major city in America like Los Angeles, Washington DC, New York, Houston, Boston, and etc. Now the main reasons for this protest was that policies imposed by Trump administration, like for example in Iran war, the federal immigration enforcement, the rising inflation, and the unemployment. So everybody is concerned with all the way the Trump administration is currently working on these areas, and people are so frustrated right now that they went out in the streets in millions to protest against the Trump, and I'm sure you must have seen those images. Well, here's a sneak peek of some of them that you can see. So these are the images that were taken from the protest that happened on Saturday in the United States. So it says regime change begin at home. Then these are the protests that happened against Trump and J.D. Vance and Kash Patel. They're saying arrest them. No kings in the US. So people are saying that we do not want kings. We are a democracy, to let it run in a similar fashion. Now let's moving on. So let's quickly take a look at the indices now. So this is the next section of our video, and here's a snapshot of the indices that you must see. So previous day change, how the markets closed on Wednesday, on the last week on Friday. Here's a snapshot of that. So Nifty closed minus 2% negative, closed at 22,819 levels, and percentage change on the previous week was negative 1.28%. Well, the similar thing was seen in Nifty 500 as well. Nifty 500 closed negative 2.25%, and the weekly close fall was minus 1.44%. Well, the fall was more in the mid caps, as you can see. Mid caps on Friday fell by 2.23%, and the weekly negative fall was minus 1.38%. Whereas small caps, the fall was less brutal, as it was on Friday, they fell by 1.74% negative, and the weekly fall was just 0.63%. So here's one clue that you must all take a note of, that small caps have now started to outperform the mid caps and the overall large caps. So this is one sign that I wish to highlight with you guys. However, the VIX index was still elevated, and the rise in VIX on Friday was 8.78%, which shows that the market volatility increased by 8.78%, and the change over the week was 17.5%. So last week, VIX index increased by 17.5%. Well, let's quickly take a look at the global indices. So there are 3 global indices which you should take a note of, which are in the US, and these are there, and that's S&P 500, which fell by 1.67% on Friday. The weekly fall was more than the Indian markets. It was negative 2.12%. You can see Nifty fell by 1.28% weekly, and S&P 5 index was down by 2.12%. Dow Jones fell by 1.73, and the weekly was 0.9%. Similarly, the fall was more in Nasdaq stocks, the IT stocks. Nasdaq is nothing but the index of major IT stocks. So it fell by 2.23% on Friday, and the overall fall during the week was negative 1.38%. While Nikkei, the Japanese stock exchange index, also fell by 2.85% on Friday, but the overall fall during the week was 0.3%. So if you don't know, then the Japanese index is the only index that has, one of the indices that has been outperforming the overall global markets during this year. And the next you can also take a look at KOSPI, which is the index of South Korea. That has also been outperforming most of the indices. Though I haven't covered it here, but for a better reference, you can go and see. So Hang Seng was up on Friday. Hang Seng is Taiwan's index, but on the weekly closing, it was negative 1.29%. So basically, overall indices in Asia as well as the United States closed negative on the week, and India was similarly just chasing them in their downfall. Moving on, let's take a look at USD INR. So as on today, Monday, 30th of March, USD INR stands at rupees 93.9, and the change so we saw some cooling off in the dollar, and rupee strengthening by 0.9% today. Let's see how, though the markets haven't closed yet, let's see how things work. And this is yet to be seen, but 94, almost touching 94, is still extremely elevated levels of USD INR conversion, and this is super bad for the Indian economy. Well, Brent saw some rise today morning, and it currently trades at 108 per barrel. So $108 per barrel. So crude still is trading above the $100 thresh mark, and anything above 100 is so volatile for the markets. It can easily raise up till $120 per barrel. Provided we see some escalation happening at the Bab el-Mandeb, things have already started to worsen, and going ahead, if Yemen takes part in the overall dynamics of the Middle East, then we can see crude going above $120 per barrel. Now let's take a quick look at the market breadth, which I track and which I follow, because data is something that you should all take a note of. However good be your subjective analysis about the stock market, you should always follow data, because data never lies, and whatever that is hidden within data can be tracked with good skills and good experience, right? So we always follow this, and this is the initiative of Trader Hikes to bring across everything before you. आपसे कुछ भी ना छुपे. Everything you should know about stock market, so that you are in a better position to do the analysis of what is happening around and what is happening within the stock market. Right? So let's quickly take a look at the market breadth. Well, if you can see the stocks that are trading above 50-day moving average line, let's me zoom in. So 13.6% stocks simply trade above the 50-day moving average line. So basically on Friday it was 14.8, now it is 13.6. So basically the breadth have only worsened on Monday. Well, the market is still live. I'll take you to the markets in a bit, but let's quickly take a look so that we are in a better position to analyze the markets. The short-term trend in the market is only going oversold, and the medium-term trend is also now oversold. The longer medium-term trend is also oversold. So this is the 100-day EMA. And the 200-day EMA, we are entering to the extremely oversold levels going forward. Well, 52-week low, 634 stocks made a new 52-week low. Only 7 made 52-week high. So these numbers of stocks that are making 52-week low is very important for us to track, because this is the area, where we see the strength in the stocks. The fall of stocks more than 3% was 296. So this market breadth that I track is limited to Nifty 500 stocks. So CNX 500 is the only index that I track when I'm tracking the market breadth, because most of the small and medium and micro caps, so basically small and micro caps do not have the liquidity right now. So there's no point, adding them to the market breadth. Probably going forward, when the market improves, I'll add them, but currently it is just restricted to CNX 500. That gives the clear picture. So the remark that currently is there is that market is right now at oversold levels, is fragile, and is bearish. So let's take a look at the CNX 500 gainers for Friday. They were HEG, OneSource, Sagility, Acme Solar, Graphite, OFSS, and APAR. So highest was HEG, which ran up by almost 12% on Friday. And the losers were AIL and Godfrey Phillips, Ventiv, Alkyl Amines, R Power, Fluorochem, AstraZen. So these were the losers for Friday. Well, the advance, as we can see from the market breadth also, the advance was definitely very, very less when compared to the decline. 284 stocks advanced. So this is the overall breadth of the market, while 2,357 stocks declined on Friday. Right, so it was almost 9 times of the decline, so of the advance. So basically 1:9 का ratio पे advance decline हुआ है market में. So definitely that could have been seen in the markets on Friday, as the markets were very, very, very volatile. The global geopolitics is changing, and the next hotspot that we can see after Strait of Hormuz can be Bab el-Mandeb, where the things have already started taking shape. And if Yemen takes more assistance from Iran or somehow gets assistance from China to participate in this war, they are good enough to stop the Bab el-Mandeb trade flow. And that can be the next trigger point that the markets are currently not discounting, but the risk is super high that the markets, if at all that happens, guys, God forbid that happens, but agar aisa hota hai, the markets will take a deep nosedive, because that will be an added risk point, because it will not only suggest that the choke points have changed or have escalated, it will show that more number of nations are now participating in this war. That is the biggest risk. अभी currently risk ये नहीं है कि हमारे को ईरान में war कब खत्म करनी है. एक और added risk ये है कि ईरान के साथ और देश ना involve हो ताकि ये war और बढ़े. Right? So this is one thing that I wanted to highlight in this video. Well, going forward, let's take a look at what is happening exactly with our trader hikes indicator signal. So this is my own self-proprietary indicator signal, where I track different indicators to come out at a decision, what should I do in the stock markets? Well, your view can be different. This is my view. I'm sharing my own view. This is not a buy and sell recommendation. Please do your own due diligence before you take any such call. Well, on 1, 2, 3, let's see what it says. So it's a no trade zone for me. I shared it on Friday as well. Nothing has changed and nothing has moved. And this is a no trade zone for me. So I am not trading anything right now. All I am doing currently is just tracking the markets and tracking the geopolitics that is happening all around us. So guys, अभी जो situation हमारे को दिख रही है, एक तो वो ठीक नहीं हो रही है, नंबर 1. दूसरा ये है कि उसका खराब होने का जो रिस्क है, that is increasing every single day. अभी क्या है, यूएस पे बहुत ज़्यादा प्रेशर आ गया है डोनाल्ड ट्रंप के एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन पे, because the amount of people those who turned out on the protest on Saturday in the No Kings protest was extremely high. So जब ऐसा होता है तो ट्रंप एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन now takes a back step, because अब उनके पास जो फ्रीडम और फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी थी to do any random stuff, any stupidity all around, अब वो कम हो गई है कहीं ना कहीं, राइट? सो गोइंग फॉरवर्ड उनको इस चीज को डी एस्केलेट करना चाहिए, क्योंकि बॉन्ड यील्ड्स, अगर आप नेक्स्ट वीडियो में बात करेंगे इस पे डेफिनेटली, बॉन्ड यील्ड्स आर टचिंग ऑलमोस्ट 4.5% इन द यूएस. जितना वहां पे बॉन्ड यील्ड्स बढ़ेंगी उतना ही वहां की इकोनॉमी फ्रेजाइल होगी. इसका मतलब है बिकॉज दैट मीन्स कि हर एक लोन जो यूएस को सैंक्शन हुआ है उस पर इंटरेस्ट रेट बढ़ रहा है और आगे वाले लोन्स पे भी इंटरेस्ट रेट बढ़ेगा, राइट? सो हमारे को बॉन्ड यील्ड्स को ट्रैक करना इक्वली इंपॉर्टेंट है, जियोपॉलिटिक्स को ट्रैक करना इक्वली इंपॉर्टेंट है, और क्या और एडेड रिस्क है जियोपॉलिटिक्स में और जो वॉर एस्केलेशन चल रही है मिडिल ईस्ट में, that is also extremely important. So in this video you've now known that what is the added risk for the stock market, and now going forward, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, then please do that right now, because in the next videos I will be discussing each and everything that you should know as a stock market participant. Whether you're a trader or an investor, you should know every bit of it. So we'll see how things shape up in the next video. But till then, take care, trade safe, and markets are still live. But now you know what are the added risks that are in the markets. So be cautious and don't do anything that is not supposed to be done, right? All right, I'll see you in another video. Till then, take care, trade safe, and Jai Hind.